Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to make an art lesson called paper quilling, and so I did a scene of flowers, and it's essentially you're kind of rolling up the paper to make these swirly lines, and you can make different shapes. So I'll show you how to do that, and it looks cool if you can kind of see it from the side as well as the top view. So let's get started. You're going to need wet glue and a pencil, and then any kind of construction paper or colorful paper. So to make our paper quilling, I have some construction paper, so if you have any color paper, it could be magazine, it doesn't have to be this kind of paper. Any color paper that you have works well. And then if you do have paper that's a little bit thicker, that's also helpful. But work with whatever you have, and if you can also color paper with a marker and use that as well. So I'm just going to cut a strip, and I don't want it to be too, I have a whole stack of colors right here. I don't want it to be too wide. The wider it is, the taller it would be on your paper. Okay, so now I'm going to take, I've got a bunch of colors now, and I'm just going to take a pencil, and I'm going to wrap my strip of paper around it pretty tightly, and we're going to make what's called a loose coil. So if you've heard coil before, we use that when we make clay. Woo. So this is a pretty loose coil. You can make it looser if you kind of were to run your finger through it and like spread it out. You could also make it tighter if you were to really pull tight on your paper. I know with Mr. Bain, the high school students do really beautiful paper quilling. Okay, so now to put this on my paper, you're gonna get wet glue. And you really just kind of have to make yourself, like, I know that people normally say not to make a puddle of glue. We're gonna make a nice little puddle of glue. Because you want to give it plenty of places to stick on. And then your artwork's gonna be a little fragile because now you're not really gonna move it. Okay. And it will stay, but you just can't really, touch it right now. Give it a little pat. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing again. This time I'm gonna make like a set of flowers. So I'm going to make a looser coil so that my flower is a little bigger. Okay, so I wrap my coil around, and then I'm just gonna like run my finger through to kind of keep this coil, but I just loosened it, right? So this one's gonna be much bigger. So I don't need to put a puddle of glue in the center, right? I can put a puddle of glue around the outside. And you can kind of, ooh, I just got a bunch of glue everywhere. You can kind of manipulate the paper a little bit to go where the glue is, but we don't want to be wasteful, right? Okay, and we'll make another one. And this time I'm going to show you how you can make a different shape other than a circle. Okay, so I made my coil the same way around my pencil. Now I'm going to pinch the edges, and I've made a different shape. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the news. So for this one, again, I just pinched the edges. This is a pretty tight coil, right? And I just pinched it so that it would stay together. Next, I think I'll try this yellow. I think I'm gonna try doing a pinched edge, but make it a little bit looser. So again, rolling. And this is, you know, you can experiment however you want to. There's all sorts of shapes that you can make if you look online at paper quilling. So I'm just gonna loosen this one up. Ooh. And see what happens if I kind of pinch it. There we go. Maybe I'll put this one over here, and then it's aesthetically pleasing, which means pretty. Like people look at something and think it's pretty, to work in odd numbers. So I'm going to, in your art piece, sometimes, I guess I shouldn't say all the time, but in some instances, they call it the rule of threes. You just would, I don't know, it's like pleasing to the eye. Like it's one thing to have balance, but like odd numbers of things seem to look better. Your eye can go in on the center and then, or like the odd number, but then be balanced by the two even numbers on the outside. So I'm gonna do one more flower over here, and I think I'm gonna try to make it another, maybe similar to this one. Maybe I'll try to find it in between. Sorry, I haven't had coffee yet today. Okay. So after this, I'm going to show you how I would make a stem. So I'm excited about that. So rolling my coil. And obviously, no, like the strips are like a good size. So depending on how long, if your strip is really short, you're not going to get as much of a curl. So you do want to make sure your strips of paper are long enough. Alright, so I'm just going to try to make this one a little bit looser, but not quite as loose as this one. Kind of in the middle. Okay, so I'll put this one up here. So lately we've been really using our glue, but that's okay. That's a good thing. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how we can make stems for our paper quill flowers. And also, like, you can't see because you're looking up above, but like they look really cool from the side. Okay, so with my green, I'm actually going to cut a couple strips. I'm folding my paper in half, saving myself, I'm gonna, well, okay, so I folded my paper in half. This is the open part and this is the folded part. So I'm going to cut 2 strips, leaving the end that's folded. I'm gonna keep that intact. And then, sorry, I'm gonna cut 5. I don't know what I was thinking. 1, 2, yeah, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to make my stems, and I'm just going to curl some of the edges. So I took one end of my strip, curled it. I kind of want to make it like measured to about the size, so I might need to curl it a little bit more. But I'm going to do one at a time, so that way I want them to both curl outwards, and if I were to curl them at the same time, they would both curl in the same direction. I want them to go in opposite directions. Okay. So here's my stem. I can glue it together. And then I can make my line of glue. roughly. You can kind of move the paper over the glue. It's okay if it doesn't go in the exact spot. Okay. So there's my stem. So I'm gonna finish this on a time lapse so you can see.